The Young Turks brought to you by Carbonite Online Backup. Get a free trial at carbonite.com by using the promo code TYT, and you also get 2 months free if you decide to buy. I read a story yesterday that was honestly unbelievable, but this is actually happening in New Jersey. A woman by the name of Louise Marie gave birth 3 years ago, and right after she gave birth, she had her daughter taken away from her, and she's fighting to regain custody of her baby. Well, the reason why the state took her child away from her, her baby, her newborn baby away from her, is because she refused to pre-consent to having a C-section. So she goes into the hospital, she's in labor, the doctor tells her, look, we don't know whether or not you're going to need a C-section yet, but we need you to sign this form indicating that you will allow us to perform a C-section should you need it. She said, no, I would like to deliver this baby vaginally, and if it comes to the point where we have complications, then I will sign the form. Well, the hospital did not like that. So they reported her, and the New Jersey Division of Youth and Family Services took her baby away from her right after she gave birth. She delivered the baby vaginally, everything was fine, there were no problems, but they still took the baby away from her. Okay, now she is fighting in court to get the baby back, and believe it or not, she has lost that court case. Okay, so the appellate court in New Jersey basically said that she put the baby's life in danger and that the hospital was right, except that doesn't make any sense at all because according to the law, individuals are not legally required to consent to invasive procedures even to save other individuals, including fetuses that lack full legal status. So I don't really understand how this ruling makes any sense at all.
We've covered a lot of outrageous stories on the Young Turks throughout all these years, but I actually think this is one of the most outrageous I've ever heard. They haven't seen their kid in 3 years. 3 years. They had a kid. They didn't do anything wrong. And she was 100% right. There was no need to sign that report. The delivery went fine. And she didn't even if something had gone wrong, she would have given consent. But she just didn't want to do it without her consent at the time. I literally can't imagine a more reasonable case. And to have your kid ripped away from you right after birth and not be able to see them for 3 years, this is a crime, man.
No, and the hospital's defense was that she was being, or their argument was that she was being combative, uncooperative, erratic, inappropriate. She's in labor. If ever there's a time for a woman to be erratic, it's when she's about to deliver a baby vaginally or give birth to a baby in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so I don't understand what that argument is. For them to even bring it up during court and have a judge listen to it and think, yeah, that makes sense. I think that's probably one of the most egregious parts of this story. Like,
Look. I mean, it's like that anger management movie with Adam Sandler when they're like, be calm, sir. He is like, I am calm. And then they tase him. And wait a minute. You're telling me you can take my kid away. I'm in the middle of labor. And then when I get upset about it, then I'm being erratic and I'm upset. And so then you got to take my kid away. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy and it's crazy. Look, the thing is, this gives the government such a bad name, right? These are the kind of things that people look and they go, oh, look at the bureaucrats. Look at them taking away your kids, etc. Because they are in this case. Look, you can have sensible regulations to protect kids. You need sensible regulations to protect kids if their parents are going to do harm to them. But once you go overboard like this, you lose all credibility. This is madness. Give them their kids back, man. Have some decency. And what kind of court system do we have that you keep ruling against these guys for 3 straight years? Come on, man. This is beyond all bounds of reason.
Yeah, apparently the worst thing to do in the United States if you're a woman is to become pregnant. Because at this point, there are people who are demonizing women for deciding whether or not to give birth or deciding how they want to give birth. Okay, so at this point, the way a woman wants to deliver a child is no longer in her control. Okay, we should do what the Republicans think we should do with our bodies. We should do what the doctors think we should do with our bodies before there's any proof that we should do what they're suggesting. It's ridiculous how much we're being demonized at this point. It's the scariest thing in the world to have a baby in this country at this point.
Look. Here's another angle on this that you got to know about. Part of the reason she didn't want to do it is because they're now encouraging C-sections a lot more. Why are they encouraging C-sections? One, it's become kind of a pattern, and it's become kind of blasé and part of the normal procedure. And C-sections are invasive, man. They cut your stomach open, they take your innards out, then they take the baby out. It's a tough thing to go through. That shouldn't be common procedure. I'm not saying the doctors are getting lazy, but they're just falling into a routine where they do it a little quicker than they really should, okay? Then number two, it's how they get compensated. Insurance sometimes pays more for it. So then the doctors in the hospitals have an incentive to push C-sections. And if you don't go along with their profit motive, well, then they take your kid away. I mean, that's the part where it goes from horrible to just revolting. And you understand why they did it, and it becomes 10 times more grotesque.
Right, and just to give you a statistic on this particular hospital, they have a 50% C-section rate. So 50% of all
That's
women,
crazy.
50% of
That's
all
crazy.
women who come into this hospital have a C-section. I mean, if that doesn't
50%.
give it away right there, I don't know. 50%.
There's no way that 50% of the women delivering should have C-sections. No way!
Eventually, you're going to have a computer disaster, your computer is going to crash, and you're going to lose all your files. But with Carbonite Online Backup, you don't have to worry about any of that because it automatically saves your files off-site. You can access all of your backed up files from any computer remotely, or if you want, you can also access your files through an iPhone or BlackBerry with Carbonite's awesome free app. Carbonite costs just $55 a year for unlimited backup for your PC or Mac. Think about it, that's less than $5 a month. Get a free trial at Carbonite.com by using the promo code TYT, and you also get 2 months free if you decide to buy.